बिखरी हुई बंदगी, मानवता है पुकार रही, दिखाएं हम दरिया दिली। I can, you can, we can, India can. I can, you can, we can, India can. हम सब मिल जाए तो, मिलकर हाथ बटाए तो, टल जाएगी ये घड़ी, झूमेगी फिर से खुशी। आशा टूटे नहीं, हौसला रूठे नहीं, साथ ये छूटे नहीं, मंजिल दूर नहीं। मानवता है पुकार रही, दिखाएं हम दरिया दिली। I can, you can, we can, India can. I can, you can, we can, India can.
Good evening, viewers. This is your host Hargun Kaur and welcome to ICANN Conversations Facebook Live. Let me give you a brief about ICANN. India COVID Action Network is an initiative to help underprivileged communities that have been hardest hit due to COVID-19. It is a unique movement to combat the pandemic through an online platform that connects help seekers and help providers. COVID warriors are spread in different states of India and are steadily growing day by day. COVID Action Network has impacted more than 393,000 lives as of now, working in collaboration with 3,366 NGO partners. There are 4,093 COVID warriors volunteering for this noble cause. Over to my co-host, Shrenik Kotecha.
Namaste, all of you. Welcome to this live session. Being a part of the education industry for the last almost 20 years, this is absolutely an unprecedented time for all of us. The coronavirus situation has really made the students as well as the parent community absolutely uncertain about what next. So today we have some of the most important opinion makers of the coaching classes across India who will be helping us in understanding how do we take things forward from here on and try and perhaps align things in such a way that we do not take risk in terms of lives of the students as far as the social distancing norms are concerned, as well as maintain a fine balance between the education and the academic calendar of the year. I would request Hargun to please introduce our esteemed speakers for the day.
I'm delighted to facilitate our guest speakers, Mr. Sachin Karnawat and Mr. Rajesh Mishra, along with my co-host Shrenik Kotecha. Mr. Sachin Karnawat is the president of Maharashtra Class Owners Association and the CEO of Karnawat Classes. He is also an author, a career counselor, and the national chairman of the education committee of FAI. And Mr. Rajesh Mishra is an author and the founder and director of Saraswati IAS. Also introducing my co-host, Mr. Shrenik Kotecha. He is the business head of MT Educare Limited. He is also a part of the industry and so he'll be playing the role of a panelist as well as a moderator.
Thank you so much.
I welcome each one of you to this edition of ICANN Conversations. Thanks a lot for joining us. Over to Shrenik, sir.
Yeah. So on behalf of all of us, maybe I would request Sachin sir to please start today's conversation and give us an idea about how do we take things forward and his take about the current scenario, which is absolutely unprecedented and no one has ever gone through this scenario as far as the education sector is concerned. So I would request Sachin sir to please help us out with the opening comments.
Yes, a very good evening to all of you. I hope I am audible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So basically, very tough and very challenging situation. But as they say, when going gets tough, the tough get going. So we have no option but to face this kind of situation. So let's try and see what best could be done. I mean, in the next few minutes, let's try to find out solutions with the help of this panel in terms of how we could fight this corona and make sure that ultimately good quality education goes to the students with minimum hassles as such. So I can definitely give my comments, but if you would specify the question, I think that would be better.
Yeah, so do we have Rajeshji online, Hargun? Yeah.
So my first question is, how has COVID-19 affected the education of children? And is there any way the quality of education could get compromised with online classes being the new trend?
I mean, the online classes are the best part of the bad bargain. I think it's somehow making us techno savvy, and we are not losing on staying connected with education because of this online platform. However, it is not completely hassle free or completely error free, because as such, the internet bandwidth across India is not that good. So that is one challenge which is faced most of the times, and especially in remote areas, the bandwidth is very, very low. We lack some indigenous apps, because certain apps we are using these days, but they have been in news for certain wrong reasons, certain security concerns. So some indigenous apps need to be there. And in the remote side or in the rural side, students have problems like they don't have smartphones at home, or maybe not a good internet connection, or certain teachers and students are also not that tech savvy. So certain issues we are facing, but I think online lectures is the best part of the bad bargain. I mean, we have no other option as of now.
With online classes being the new trend, are there any challenges with the students not attending regularly or having network issues?
Yes, sometimes it happens that students are not able to log in. See, I think one of the speakers also today is having certain technical issues, so he is not able to log in. So, I mean, this happens with the students also sometimes, that some technical issues are there. And some students are little smart also. Many a times what they do is they put their speaker on mute, they will put their video on mute, and they will continue playing TikTok and PUBG while your lecture is going on.
These are those typical last benchers, Sachin sir, I'm sure. Otherwise, in a classroom, we also have some last benchers always. So this is that new way of finding out the last benchers.
Yeah, I can't comment because I used to be last bencher in my school.
Same here, same here. So I can relate myself because I have also been one such last bencher always.
So people used to call me LLB, the Lord of the Last Bench. And many a times, sorry to interrupt, but many times, some people are also going forward with some recorded lectures. But the biggest challenge with the recorded lectures is also that you send them the recording, but there is absolutely no control whether the student has seen the recording or not, and whether he or she has seen it in the stipulated time or no. So at least I think interactive face-to-face lecture is little better than recorded lectures, but that is also one more solution. That's it.
And now Rajesh sir is on board with us. I welcome you, sir. Thanks for joining us. Sir, am I audible?
His audio is can't be seen actually. He has not joined with the computer audio, I guess.
Perhaps.
Mic is not visible.
So let's proceed with the questions. So my next question is, once the lockdown is lifted and coaching classes can begin functioning, do you think it would be wise to limit the number of students of in each class to avoid risks? Also, would it be possible to reduce the time of each batch to accommodate more batches in one day?
Yes, definitely. It is recommended that anywhere between half to one third students should be accommodated, or maybe the social distancing typically should be 5 to 6 feet, or maybe there is only one student on a bench, and the use of mask, use of sanitizers, use of disinfectants, and taking all possible care and precaution should be the way of life. And there are two things here. Either we can limit the lecture timing, or alternatively what we can do is, if one third students are attending the lecture face to face, I think 2/3 of them who have good internet access can parallelly attend the lecture online. So instead of taking more lectures, because that will be a problem to schools and colleges, that they may not be able to accommodate. I mean, they can't make the batches 3 times. So I recommend, one third students attending face to face, and maybe 2/3 of them watching it online on an internet platform. I think that is better. But one more thing is that, we have to realize that, Corona is going to stay in India between 6 months to 1 year. I have read various research reports. Some of them conservatively say 1 year, some of them say 6 months. So somehow, we have a lot of stress about Corona, and we are very much worried about all of them. But somehow, we'll have to increase our immunity. Somehow we'll have to learn to take the care and precautions, because मेरा एक ही एडवाइस है, कोरोना से डरो ना. That's it.
That summarizes a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
Over to Shrenik sir now.
Yeah. So, Sachin sir, I mean, we've been a part of the same industry. A couple of questions from my side on behalf of all of us to you, as you're leading the Coaching Class Owners Association.
Sir, easy questions पूछना please.
No, sir, it's very normal questions, because sir, you represent 98,000 coaching classes of Maharashtra. So on behalf of all of us, you'll be the right person to guide all of us spread not just across Maharashtra, but various parts of the country, sir, because many people are watching us live today, and you'll be a source of inspiration for all those coaching class owners, sir. One of the questions could be, sir, that sanitization of the entire coaching class. I mean, how do we cater to that? Because parents would always be a little apprehensive कि ठीक है, government ने 1/3 students, let's say 33% students या 50% का भी norm रखा कि alternate days, odd and even students can come, if whatever be the case. But how do we plan to sanitize our classrooms? I mean, what, as coaching class owners or as coaching class representatives, what should an individual class owner take care of as far as the sanitization part is concerned?
See, number one, there should be some disinfectants at the entry. Secondly, the hygiene level has to be the highest. I mean, cleaning has to happen practically every 3 hours. Third is like wearing gloves, wearing proper masks, because nowadays, you get masks which are not up to the mark, or many people don't know also how to wear a mask. Right. Many times I have seen people wearing a mask and nose outside the mask. And then, washing hands and using sanitizers and keeping proper social distancing and all that. And if possible, we should avoid using air conditioners also, because typically what happens is, all the glasses are closed. And, even if one student sneezes inside the class, that will spread in the entire classroom. So if we could avoid using air conditioners and keep the window open, I think that would be better.
Right, right. And sir, do we look at any kind of time restrictions or any planning? Because I mean, in metro places like Mumbai, Delhi, and most of the other places in metro cities, I mean, most of the coaching classes are in premises wherein you have other units also going side by side. So how do we try to take care of the external scenario also? I mean, inside the classroom, yes, it is in our control, but do we take some help from government, or I mean, how do we take things forward from there? So for example, my classroom is on, let's say, on the fourth floor in a five-storied building, or on a second floor in a five-storied building. So students will still use the common area, common passage area. I mean, are there any specific thoughts about that, sir?
I mean, ideally, government could help. It would be love over gold. But if government has challenges, then at least I think the society needs to take care of that. I mean, at the entry of the society, or hygiene in the passages and in the lift areas. Like
Right.
in lift also, 1/3 people only should travel in the lift. Proper cleanliness has to be there in the building. There has to be disinfectant machines outside the building. So if government could help, that would be a great thing. But otherwise, I think society should take care of those norms.
Right. Sir, I mean, you've been a stalwart of our industry. Do you think that this is that time in the coaching class industry wherein the physical classrooms, of course, has been the norm for all these years? Now that online education or online lectures have already started under this scenario, I mean, it could be a forced scenario that there is no other choice. And as of now, to continue the academic calendar, we all are getting into online lectures. So right now it is maybe mandatory, but going further, do you think that, sir, this online scenario could be the norm going further?
As they say that, necessity is the mother of invention. So the good thing which Corona has brought is that somehow, there was some lethargy in the education industry with respect to technology. So thank God people are becoming techno savvy. And I have been taking certain lectures online for the last 2.5 months, on an average 4 hours a day. And I have realized that in future, it's going to be a golden mix of, online and offline. I mean, 50% of that could get shifted to online, and some part of it would still continue to remain face-to-face physical coaching, because online platforms, as I said, have certain challenges like internet bandwidth is a problem, security concerns are there. Many a times what happens is, that a practical subject, like I'm basically a professor of accountancy, and I'm used to like rubbing board 10 times during my lecture. So sometimes, I'm not able to represent that particular problem that effectively on an iPad or on a laptop. So that's a pain area. And many a times what happens is that students initially may have good internet connectivity, but maybe after 1 hour or 2 hours, maybe they have typically 1 GB plan or 1.5 GB plan. And then, the internet starts becoming weak. Or sometimes if you have a bigger lecture, maybe 3 hours, 4 hours, then it becomes little taxing online, thoda आंखों का जलन, आंखों का चुभन, थोड़ा सा headache types. I think this happens. So पूरी तरह से face to face wipe off भी नहीं होगा और एकदम हमारा पुराना पैटर्न भी नहीं होगा. I think the truth will lie somewhere in between.
And maybe, sir, is it more to do with maybe a little higher standard students, let's say class 12 and beyond, maybe for the higher studies like IAS, for commerce students of chartered accountancy course, online could be more easier to adapt than maybe a class 9 or class 10 student, or is it vice versa? I mean, do we see some kind of difference there as well, sir?
Yes. Professional course students are much more sincere and much more serious. And I think for them, every minute is important. So they waste a lot of time, money and energy in traveling. So probably they could save that and would prefer to have online lectures, because as you said, CA students, they might have articleship, they may have IT trainings, they may have orientation programs. So many a times, it becomes difficult for them to travel and all that. So at that level, students are very, very sincere. So I think more of online is going to happen at professional level. At lower levels where students are comparatively little less serious, it will be really difficult. For example, if they don't log in the lecture, whether really there is an internet issue or whether they are trying to make an issue out of it is question number one. Question number two, how you track their attendance. If they are physically present, how do you track if they are mentally present? Point number four, how do you check their homeworks? Point number five, how you assess them on subjective platform, because objective tests are possible, but subjective tests are not that easy. So at a lower level, I think more of face to face, and वो टीचर बाजू में डंडा लेके खड़ा है और टीचर का थोड़ा डर है, तो वहां पर आई थिंक इट विल बी मोर ऑफ फेस टू फेस. At IIT level, at IAS level, or at chartered accountancy level, I think proportion of online is going to be more. The percentage is going to be better.
Right, right.
And sir, do you think that taking online examinations is a good solution?
Disclaimer here is that the internet and the bandwidth has to be good across India, and there has to be some app which is totally hassle free. If that is made possible by the government, then yes, it is very much possible. I mean, in most of the countries in the world, most of the exams do happen online, but here we'll have to make sure first about the internet bandwidth and a software which can control. Students should not copy and all those things.
Do we have Rajesh ji online for his comments? Maybe.
Yeah.
Sir, if you could guide us, especially, for senior students, IAS students, they are absolute professionals. So how do we, how is the current scenario for them, sir? If you could share your views on this, sir.
Even I was listening very much Sachin sir, and his ideas are very, the unique, and he comprehensively deal with all the issues. So I'm very impressed with the way how he deal with all the issues. And same thing is also applicable in field of civil services too. And with few modifications are there, which you already told, because as of now we are running classes that is a strength of almost 600 to 800 in a single class in Delhi. So as of now, this is not going to happen. If you are running probably 600 students in a batch at one time the class, and regularly we are taking the batches from 9 to 9, even back to back. So that is not going to happen. And let's see that how we are going to arrange these students. That is the problem number one. And secondly, that even we can segregate the IAS students in the medium wise too, in regional language. I would more like to not Hindi versus English, but it's more to say that English versus regional languages. Even students are more frequent. They are more willing, the students join from English medium. They are more willing to join the online classes, not even due to this pandemic, even before too. And you will be surprised to know there's some people here in Delhi, they're streaming their classes to Hyderabad, Pune, right from Delhi and before this pandemic. So in fact, in English, it's very popular already. As Sachin sir rightly said that it is in forthcoming days, it will be equally popular for civil services, but in English medium, it's too much popular. But as far as regional language is concerned, we're still facing a problem, although now they are also turning up for the online classes into some, because they are living in the rural areas and the connectivity issues already there. Even they're not techno savvy. So these are factors. Otherwise, they are also, now they're moving towards online classes. But English medium students are more frequent, they're more willing, and they are more curious to join the classes.
Yeah, I would request Hargun to take it forward.
Yeah, and third issue, what we are looking forward because already, in fact, when a pandemic arises, because we are in the courses which is length of at least 1 year, in particular in civil services. The duration of course is 1 year, and all the batches, why we have left out in the middle.
Yeah.
Suppose that some batches are completed for 1 month, 2 months, around 6 months, 1 month from 6 months, this is duration. So next challenge is for us to cater the needs of those students who have already left their classes. Although we are providing alternative classes for them via internet, via online, we are engaging in that. But again, I that when the situation gets back normal, returns to normal, so they will again ask for the same classes to offline or online. This we have to see what the scenario will emerge in days to come. And even that in probably particularly I'm more even associated with the civil services examination. So I'm expressing the views related to that field only. And
Yes.
what I am looking as of now, because as of now, that for civil services, too much concentration is in Delhi. So I think that there's going to be decentralization of the classes because of this pandemic, because you can't run the large batches. And that Delhi and Mumbai, there's the two most affected even cities and capitals.
Yeah.
So there may be Hyderabad, even Allahabad, Jaipur, even Pune. To some extent, the regional centers may come up as a big education hub in days to come. That's why in morning you asked about quota. So quota may be decentralized, the situation which is emerging as of now.
Yeah.
And next issue is that, even in morning too, you have asked that, can you tell me number, date, cutoff, and what the date, what the time, what the month we are going to restart the classes. I think that by end of July, we are able to continue the classes, because if you look the mood of government too, they are also in mood up to run to business. And that the major source of economy of state government is GST, VAT, and that comes from the coaching classes too. So they can't afford delay all the things very late. And most importantly, if you looked recently, I pointed out the calendar of Delhi University. They have even released their academic calendar as of now. And in that calendar, they are showing that they are going to complete the process of their admission by the 31st August. Even they will start the process by the first week of June, and they will complete the entire process by 31st August. It means in meantime, August, we are probably we are able to start the classes from July to August. It may be the cutoff date or cutoff month for starting as industries again.
My next question is to Sachin sir. Sachin sir, currently the scenario in cities like Chennai, Mumbai is, again, as rightly told by Rajesh sir, that it is quite serious. And, there is a lot of panic amongst the overall people staying in this city, as well as especially in the minds of students and parents. Given this scenario, Sachin sir, and your recent research, and as you said, you've gone through a lot of articles, what do you think, sir, should be the ideal date? I mean, when should the coaching classes begin operations? Maybe gradually, and how things should take forward from here on? Maybe Sachin sir could express his views on this.
Yes, definitely. See, on one hand, there is a concern about the health of the child, about the life of the child. And on other hand, the concern is that we should be able to give the best possible education, best quality education. So somewhere, my personal view is that at least June and July, wherever possible, I think we should continue with the online lectures, especially in the contamination zones or in the red zones. I think we should continue with online. And from August, slowly and gradually, maybe with 1/3 students, we could start with proper social distancing norms. But I think for the next 2 months, parents are under too much stress and they don't want to take any risk with their child, and rightly so. So probably in the orange, red, and contamination zone, I personally recommend maybe from August. Of course, I would personally, as a president of Maharashtra Class Owner Association, request the government that please allow us to open offices for 3 hours every day, because our study materials are locked up, our notes are locked up, certain compliances of accounting we have to do, and certain database of the students and the balance fee records, etc., are also stuck up in the office. So if government could allow us to open the offices for 3-4 hours, or maybe call the staff in shifts, or maybe call only 1/3 of the staff or something like that, I think that would be a great move. Lectures, government can definitely take a call based on how far this pandemic is coming in control.
Continuing further, Rajesh
I,
sir, on similar lines, out in Delhi as well as northern India, there are certain states wherein the state government is, the scenario may not be as bad as maybe it's in Mumbai and the other cities of India. Do we have any such things wherein we have started basic office work at our coaching centers, Rajesh sir, out there in northern India?
In fact, we have already opened our offices in Delhi. Offices are permitted.
Okay.
Offices are not banned as of now.
Right,
and most teachers, one new thing is that most of teachers put the electronic board in their room and their flats. And now they're telecasting their classes on live through the electronic board. In fact, we never even used electronic board before.
Wow, that's
So
a
as
nice,
of now, we are
nice way,
using the digital board, in fact. So that is a new experience, and most of the teachers, they are streaming their classes from their home. But offices are open as of now. Offices are open.
Great.
Our electronic boards are also stuck up in our offices only.
Okay, right.
I would request Hargun to, yeah, sorry sir.
Please continue.
Yeah, I would request Hargun to take it forward from here.
I have a question for Rajesh sir. So when do you think that UPSC prelims will be conducted this year? And what about the pending interviews and results of the previous year?
In fact, if you see yesterday, the cases in Delhi has recorded highest ever, that is more than 1,000. So in that scenario, in fact, we will take a few more time even to conduct the remaining part of interviews. And probably, I think that prelims may be around August and September, not before that.
Okay.
Before August and September,
And,
there is a remote possibility of prelims, ma'am.
So what will be the expectations of the coaching class industry from the government in terms of support to run smoothly and impart best quality education to the students?
Ma'am, there are a few, even first government is offering the support from various industries. So probably how they can extend support to our industry, that is yet to see. First and second thing is that even most important thing, when we are hiring the classrooms, so maintaining social distancing norms is almost difficult in the classes. Suppose that in classes 200 students are sitting all together. So how we can even allow the 50 students, because the rent is also very crucial. We are paying very high rent. So the second question is that issue of rents. Even third question is social distancing. Even in terms of relaxation taxes or revenue, we are not going to even see any relaxation that mode. But next and fourth issue will become even the kind of inspector and that licensing rush. Even somebody is running the classes and some agencies of government are restricting your class, and how much sanitation you are having and how you are running the classes. These are the problems where government should look forward toward the coaching institute, and they should be positively help. They should positively help to the coaching institute, because they are also even getting the need of the a large number of students.
May I request Sachin sir to share his views on this question regarding support that we expect from the government? If
Yes,
Sachin
yes.
sir could add on this.
Yes, definitely. See, if we study US, or if we study Germany or Spain or Italy, I think government has given around the $3 billion stimulus to medium and small enterprises. Certain governments have in fact told that for next 1 year, they will not be taking any tax. At certain places, weekly $1,200 are transferred to the account of the citizens. In India, honestly, that is not possible because the challenges are very, very different. And our government is trying to do our best. But having said that, I would like to strongly put across one point that, education is a primary sector. So in Maharashtra, if you see, we have 98,000 coaching classes, which are maybe providing education to approximately 2 crore students. And the coaching classes are giving employment to directly, indirectly 30 lakh people. And we are in a way trying to help government to supplement and complement its work of giving good quality education to the students. So somewhere, government should recognize the coaching class owners, government, because many a times, government has some wrong opinions about coaching classes, but maybe 1 or 2 people might do certain wrong things, but as such, they should never generalize the industry. And government should not forget that coaching class owners are able to facilitate a lot of GST. They are paying huge income tax. They are paying profession tax. They are not taking any grant from the government. They are not taking any subsidy. So these are the times where, government should help the coaching classes survive. Because as a president of the association, I am seeing that many coaching class owners are closing down their business because they are not able to sustain. So what government could do in terms of support? One, on coaching class industry, which is a primary sector, which is trying to actually give education, there is 18% GST. And ultimately, I agree that the GST burden goes to the parents. But for education, why to tax the students? So that 18% GST government could eliminate, I think that would be a great thing. Second thing, as I was telling that, good internet bandwidth and good indigenous software or an app to take online lectures. Third suggestion is maybe that coaching classes should be given an industry status or an MSME status, because government gave a stimuli of 20 lakh crores, but that most of the benefit goes to MSME. But coaching classes is an unorganized sector. So if we could give them an industry status, or if we could give them an MSME status, then they would be able to take certain benefits, which are suggestion or request would be that if we could get loans at a lower rate of interest, maybe 3% or 4%, I think that would be great. Many class owners are facing a problem of paying rents because last 2.5 months, they have practically kept the facility closed, but they have to pay full rent. So if certain common rule could be brought as far as rent is concerned, I think that would be a great thing. And in case, we are starting the academic year a little late, then probably some reduction in the syllabus is a request or a kind of recommendation to the government from my side as a representative of the association. That's it.
Hargun could
Sir,
add a
do
few
you
questions.
think that there should be...
Yes, Hargun.
Sir, do you think that there should be a change in the fee structure or reduction in the fees for students, because there is a financial crunch at most of the people's homes? So.
Yes. Very good question. So I think a few days back, we had a meeting with Dr. Vinay Sahasrabudhe also, who is the vice president of BJP. And our association have agreed to lower down the fees. But what we were requesting the government is that it should be both sides. I mean, government should first bring down the GST. Definitely from our side, we will also reduce the fees. But I think 18% is a big hit. If we could bring that down, then state fee reduction of 18% will happen. And coaching class owners are also willing to reduce the fees, because I think we are saving a little bit on electricity expenses, because nowadays online lectures are happening. Maybe there would be some reduction in the syllabus also. So we have agreed to cooperate with the government in the reduction of fees. Not only in the reduction of fees, we have also promised our students and parents that we will give you more installments, we will give you more EMIs. As far as Maharashtra Class Owners Association is concerned, we are trying to tie up with certain NBFC, and this NBFC, will try to give us the balance fees upfront by deducting certain discount. So the student can pay amount in installments, but still we can get whole fees upfront by giving certain subvention to the NBFC. So that's about it. I mean, we are very much willing to cooperate with the government and with the parents for reduction of fees. But somewhere, government also should consider our request, and government also should come forward, and government should take the first step. And I promise you, we will come forward equally. Thank you.
Rajesh sir would have some views on this, sir, regarding some fees discount and some fees reduction, maybe on
Fees
GST
reduction.
part. If Rajesh sir could throw some light.
Sachin sir said very rightly. Even he pointed to each everything very clearly. I suppose I totally agree with Sachin sir. In fact, in addition to that, one thing may be a crucial challenge for quality control. Because if you know that in days of computer and Google, anyone can download the lectures and they can, that upload in the Google and so whatever electronic method they are having. So that is a big issue in days to, because nowadays, that any person can become teacher very easily. And the issue of quality control is very much in days to come.
Sachin sir, my next question to you would be, since most of the coaching classes in Maharashtra, are focusing a lot on class 10th and class 12 students coaching along with competitive entrance exams. And since you said that, June and July, according to all of us, we feel that we can continue with the online education and the actual physical classroom can start from August. And you also pointed out that because of that, the number of hours for coaching as well as the academic calendar of the year could be slightly reduced or altered. So can you throw some light more on that as to how can we cover up in the remaining part of the year, as in some change in the academic calendar and the vacation part can be altered a little bit? Can you throw a light as to what could be the ideal academic year from here on?
Yes,
The exams.
yes, very good question. See, sir, first thing what we could do is we could postpone the exams. Second thing what we could do is that anyway we have been sitting at home for quite some time. So many a times, during Diwali we have 1 month vacation, or in Maharashtra maybe during Ganpati we are closed for quite some time. During Christmas again we are closed for a week typically. So if we could cut down on certain vacations, or if we could cut down on certain holidays, if we could reduce the academic calendar, if we could postpone the exams, I think we can sail through in this particular year.
Right. Any similar views of Rajesh sir for the civil services, sir, for this coming year as well as the coming exams?
In fact, that civil services, the prelims exam is already delayed. So nature of civil services, in fact, when prelims exam is delayed, it means the entire calendar of UPSC is going to be revised.
Right.
So that is automatically going to happen in examination of civil services, because normally what the fixed date of civil services was 31st May. And now it is likely to even conduct in August or last July. So therefore, mains examination probably held in last December or January. And therefore, ultimately, even we are delaying the entire session already by 3 to 4 months. So according to that, we are adjusting our lectures and plans. And it's very difficult time for students too. And particularly though, because in civil services, what happened, most of the students come from the, even they're quitting the job, they are in IITs and they're somewhere else, they are doing the job. And accordingly, they plan for 1 year to 6 months. And they come for the coaching classes for 6 months, for 2 months, for 3 months. And now they're also facing a challenge that how they can complete their job course and then how can go back to their jobs. So these are issues that is challenge for them too.
Right. My next question to Sachin sir is, sir, recently, I mean, as you rightly pointed out, we've been interacting with certain senior members of the government of Maharashtra as well as government of India. And as you rightly said that coaching classes in general is an unorganized sector. So to bring it into the organized structure, I mean, the way we have, as far as schools are concerned, we have a lot of bodies who are taking care in terms of the quality control in schools, granting them permissions. Similarly, how do we, is there a structure that we can propose to the government? I mean, today we have a national testing agency which conducts the online exams at a national level. Can something like this be thought of, Sachin sir? As per your opinion, how do we, suggest government in terms of bringing recognition to us?
Yes, I mean, an agency, you said it right, agency which is similar to the national testing agency, we could have an agency for the coaching classes where, skill development also could be integrated in that, and typically benefits of MSME could be taken. So you are on the right lines. I mean, that is what I had thought, that some agency like National Testing Agency, particularly for coaching classes, should be announced by the government.
So maybe the way we have NSDC, the National Skill Development Corporation, which basically looks at, bringing all the skill development bodies or organizations together. They may be big, they may be small, but they're all structured through the NSDC, with NSQF being the prescribed guidelines for all of them. So similarly, you mean to say that maybe a national coaching agency could be a umbrella body which can bring all the coaching classes together. And as Rajesh sir also rightly pointed out, that can also take care of the quality control and the qualification of teachers and the quality delivered in all the classrooms, as well as we can get a lot of benefits in terms of the MSME segment is what we're trying to.
Bingo.
Perfect. Any similar views of Rajesh sir?
You hit the bullseye.
Thank you, sir. Rajesh sir, if I mean, as far as civil services players are concerned across India, do we have any such body or any such association, or do we propose to?
No, in fact, as of now, we have made informal WhatsApp group till now.
Okay.
Till now, we don't have any organization such as Sachin sir is representing the Maharashtra. We are very pleased to listen that. In fact, various time we have tried to make an organization, but that the nature of civil services industry is quite different. But we are not successful yet to make an organization.
Right. Sir, Sachin sir, one more question from my side. Recently, we have represented even to the Honorable Chief Minister of Maharashtra and the other opinion makers across the government of India. Any other points that you would like to highlight in terms of what we have represented recently?
I mean, we have written letter to Chief Minister of Maharashtra also. See, lockdown as such was announced in Maharashtra maybe on 24th, called for lockdown from 15th of March. So we are the first to cooperate with the government. And as I have said, we are providing such a huge employment. We are helping to collect GST. We are paying income tax, profession tax. So somewhere I think coaching classes needs to be given that recognition, that importance, and certain steps should be taken by the government to make sure that coaching classes survive. Because if the coaching class owners don't survive, two things will happen. I think education will become costly to the common man, and secondly, the quality of the education going to the students will come down. So certain things which I have told earlier, that reduction of GST or loans at a lower rate of interest, or some rent concessions, or certain good internet bandwidth, some software which will take care of the quality aspect which Rajesh sir has been saying, or industry status, if we could get that national coaching agency which we were talking about. So if these there are certain copyright laws also in Maharashtra, where coaching classes have to pay copyright royalty. So if we could scrap all those things, that license Raj and Panchayat Raj, I think ease of doing business, which our government has been propagating, will be true in the right sense of the term.
Right. Sir, one more inspirational thing, Sachin sir, which I've been observing. I mean, as Karnavati class CEO also, you have been one of the first movers in terms of getting the entire education setup of Karnavati classes in the form of an app. I mean, being an individual class owner, how fast and how difficult rather it was to ensure this transition, which you've successfully done, sir. So if you could throw some light on that, because that will help each of the individual classes also to follow that path of yours, sir. If you could throw some light on that, sir.
Yes, definitely. See, we have to change with the changing times, and if you change fast, you get the first mover advantage. So when we realize that this lockdown is going to be the way of life for the next 3 or 4 months, we immediately switched over to online platform. And we switched over to an online platform which had minimum hassles. And we tried to update ourselves in a way that those students who have missed the lectures will get the recording. We also made sure that even today we are able to check the homeworks. We have a software wherein we are able to give the test also to the students, not only objective test, but I am glad to announce that we also give subjective tests. And we have tried to make the lecture very, very interactive. We have in fact taken certain tests on WhatsApp, or we have used the chat box of Zoom app, etc. So we tried to be very fast, because we were always trying to work on technology. And when this came, we tried to give a very good experience to the students. I mean, we were good as far as physical education and physical coaching is concerned, but we wanted the experience to be equally good, if not better, as far as online is concerned. And so we quickly made an app of Karnavati classes, where all the notes and all the PDF were given to the students. Exams were conducted, homeworks were checked. Those students who were absent for the lectures were followed up. So we've tried to give more or less the same experience as we have in physical coaching.
Great. Any similar views of Rajesh sir out there in Delhi and Northern India? I mean, have we been doing any such things of late, sir?
In fact, we are lucky to start the parallel simultaneous class of offline and online even 2 years back. So in fact, when we are delivering the lecture in the classroom, that is streaming online too. So we have started that even 2 years back. So now it is more successfully running. As of now, my recorded class is even streaming for the students. So in fact, we are running it from the earlier, before the starting of this pandemic.
Great.
So in fact, because I am teaching political science in Saraswati IS. So even the app of Saraswati IS and political science is already made even 2 years back. So we are running this parallel courses offline as well as online, same the time.
Yeah, may I request Hargun to give some further thoughts on this?
Sure. Thank you, Sachin sir and Rajesh sir. It was wonderful interacting with you and getting your insights on the coaching industry and education sector. And
Thanks, ma'am.
thanks, Shrenik sir, for moderating the
Thank you.
session so well.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's
Thank you.
pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you to all our
Uh,
viewers who've been, patiently listening to us over the past 1 hour.
Mhm.
Yes, yes. प्रोफेसर
Thanks,
लोग
sir.
चालू हो गए एक बार तो 1 घंटा तो रुकते ही नहीं है.
Thank you, Hargun. Thank you. Thank you, Sachin sir. Thank you, Rajesh sir.
Yes, thank you,
Shrenik
Shrenik
and
sir.
Hargun.
Thank you,
Pranam, sir.
Shrenik sir. Thank you so much.
And
Thank you,
it's
Rajesh
my
sir.
pleasure to join you, sir. It's my pleasure to join you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Welcome.